Welcome to Monday Talks with Morgan. I'm so excited today. We're going to talk about boundaries and how to set them, how to start setting them. So I know that for so many people, the issue is you get walked all over, right? You can't say no. You say yes to things you don't want to do. And you have so many responsibilities already. So you have all these issues saying no to people, and you're overwhelmed. The anxiety can grow when you're not setting boundaries properly. So I get how you feel. I used to be like this, and in some cases I still have this issue of not really knowing how to set a boundary and how to say no. And that's really the most important. Hey, Michelle. Yeah. That's really the most important part of setting a boundary, is learning to say no, learning to use that word again. And what happens is a lot of us are actually really good at using it when we're young. And then we get coached out of it. We get programmed out of using the word. Hey. And so it's so important to just start getting used to saying no. And it could be like really small things at first, really things that don't matter. And if you are someone who doesn't reply, and as your way of saying no, start to actually reply and say no. This is how you start to build your confidence in like a very low stakes situation. And I really love this, because what will happen when you start to set them is you will start to feel a lot of anxiety. You'll start to feel scared, and that's normal. And so what you're going to do is really start to notice how you feel and start to acknowledge it. As you're setting a boundary, how can I do it anyway? How can I set this boundary anyway? Just because fear and panic may be rising up doesn't mean we can't do the thing anyway. And when we start to say no in terms of like lower stakes situations, we kind of are starting to reprogram our brain, reprogram our ability to say no. And I love to coach women through this, because honestly, sometimes it really does really help to have a friend to help you go from being really nervous and freaked out and scared when you're setting a boundary to feeling confident, feeling, I am in charge of my life and my schedule, and I can say no. And so that's how women start to feel as they set boundaries. And it's really, really cool to see that. So a little tip, start really low stakes and just start to say no. And then what I recommend is you start to say no to bigger things in writing. It's easier usually because you're not necessarily having to do it to the person directly. You have a chance to craft your message, so to speak. When you're crafting your message, though, it's really, really important to never lie. We never want to lie. We always want to tell the truth. When we lie, it's like really low vibration and it's no good. Okay? Even if it seems like a white lie, you're not going to hurt that person's feelings. Don't hurt the person's feelings. Don't lie. It's really, really, really bad juju. It's really the way I put it. And then we start to feel bad. And we should, because we shouldn't lie, right? So we can be honest, and we need to create a space for ourselves to start feeling good, when we tell the truth. And it can be really hard to start off. So be kind to yourself, So the first step is start to set low boundaries. The second step is you want to set boundaries in writing. It's easier. If you need to say no to something, text them or email them. And explain why you can or cannot. It doesn't really matter. But what's most important is that you actually take the step and you set the boundary. And then third is telling people in person. And boy, is that really high stakes. It's really hard, because you know why? We fundamentally are programmed to have a fear of rejection, right? So we fear rejection. We fear a loss of love or affinity from that person. And so we don't want to set the boundary. But what's really interesting is that's all in our head most of the time. Most of the time, it's not real. It's actually our own bodies trying to warn us against doing this. And why is our bodies doing that? Why do we feel this way? Why is our nervous system on alert? And it's because as children, we were programmed to never say no. And so when we start to say no or say we can't do something, our nervous system starts to freak out because it's like the last time you did that, you got into so much trouble. You got rejected by probably your parents. And so your body's trying to warn you, don't do it, don't do it. But of course, that pattern isn't helping you anymore, because if you say yes to everything, you get burnt out and overwhelmed, blah, blah. So that's it. Just remember, it's your nervous system trying to warn you, but it's no longer serving you. And that's totally fine. And that's when we can start to calm ourselves down, get really heart-centered, take some deep breaths, and go for it. So those are my 3 steps to learning to set boundaries, small and big. So yeah, 2 big announcements. One is that I have an open space in October for coaching one-on-one. So send me a DM if you're interested. Second is I have a free giveaway right now because my birthday's coming up. And essentially, I know a lot of people are feeling burnt out and overwhelmed and drained. And I coach women to figure it out, get their shit together, and really start to feel amazing because you deserve it. So if you want one of those free sessions, follow the instructions on that post. And yeah, you'll be entered to win. I'm really excited about that. All right, guys, that's it for today. I would love to hear what boundary you set in the comments. That'd be really cool. And one more thing. Next week, I have kind of a treat for you. I have Heike Martin coming on. She's a photographer, and she's going to actually help talk about visibility and how to own your visibility. And I'm really excited about it. She's a wonderful, wonderful, amazing woman, such an expander for me. So I'm really looking forward to that. We'll be here at 6 o'clock next week. So see you then. Bye, guys.